Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. My brothers and sisters in Islam. Today we are starting a new series which is called Dawah Diaries, and we will be posting a short videos on how to communicate the message of Islam to non-Muslims. In this video today we are going to talk about the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How to effectively communicate the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to any non-Muslim. We are living in Australia, my dear brothers, and majority of the people were born as Christians, and with time, with not following their religion, they have no idea about who God is. They have just the concept of God, but when it comes to being asking about them who God is, they have really no idea about it. So inshallah, in this video, our aim is to teach Muslims how to effectively communicate the oneness of God to any non-Muslim. So inshallah, let's start. This method we are going to use has been developed by iERA, Islamic Education and Research Academy, founded by Sheikh Abdul Rahim Green in the year 2010. And this method is being used all over the world, mashallah, in more than 100 countries, and 150 people are accepting Islam a day with the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So let's begin inshallah. In this method, we normally would use any object. For example, today we are going to use a bottle of water. You can also use a mobile phone, okay? So we begin by explaining to a non-Muslim firstly about God is the creator and the sustainer of the entire universe. For God to be a creator of the universe, it has to be a very big in size. It has to be extremely powerful, and it has to be different from its creation, because if somebody has created anything, he cannot go inside the creation. For example, if I create a video game, I cannot just simply go inside a video game myself. It will change by nature. I will be subjected to the laws confined to that video game. Similarly, God is the creator of the universe. So thinking about God coming inside the universe is not possible. Firstly, because of the size of God. Our universe is very tiny as compared to the size of the God. And also the nature of God will change if God comes inside the universe. So first we establish that. And secondly, we establish that in order for this universe to run peacefully as it is running right now, it has to follow a command. It has to follow a rule by one person only. So for example, have you ever seen two prime ministers in a country? Have you ever seen two presidents in a country? Have you ever seen two principals in a school? Normally we see only one person ruling the country, because if there are more people running the country, there will be chaos in the land. There will not be harmony. There will not be peace. There will not be order. So the order of the universe points that there is a sustainer. There is a creator, and who has designed his entire principles, and the universe is following its command. The sun rises at the right time, the moon comes, it performs certain functions, the galaxies, the billions and trillions of galaxies we have in the universe, everything seems to suggest there is a proper sustainer, and this sustainer is only one, because if we have more than one, then we will see a fight. Right? Once we establish that, then we use an analogy using a bottle of water, and we ask this question from a non-Muslim. Let's say we are talking to Alan here. Alan, if I ask you, can this bottle of water be God? Normally, a non-Muslim will say, I don't think so. Can this bottle create an entire universe? He says it's powerless, it's very tiny, it has an expiry date. So then we ask that, Alan, if this bottle of water is not God, then how come billions of people are creating objects with their own hand, putting them in their homes and temples, and worship as if these created objects created them and the entire universe? If this bottle of water is not God because it's powerless, it's created, the very same definition, those objects shouldn't be God either, because they are also created, they are also powerless. Does it make sense? Non-Muslim usually will say, yes, it makes sense, because they are also created, this is also created. That's why, Alan, in Islam we say, if it's created, if it's made, if it's brought into existence, it can never be God. Nothing created by man or God Almighty Himself can ever become God. God created the sun. Can sun be God? God created the moon. Can moon be God? God, by the very nature, is the only uncreated one. Rest everything is a creation of God. This is the God I worship to, and this is the God I call others to. Does it make sense, Alan? Alan will say, yes, it makes sense. What we have done here is, we have explained Alan using a very real life example that we see any objects in our world today. People are worshipping Jesus, people are worshipping Ram, people are worshipping Krishna, they are worshipping Buddha. They are all at some point in time were created. They lived their lives. So what happened with time? People changed their religion and added these concepts of worshipping idols and statues. So this bottle of water technique helps us to remove and open their fitrah. As Prophet ﷺ said, every child is born on a fitrah. It's their surroundings, it's their parents change them into Jews, Christian and Magian, the fire worshipper. So with this technique, inshallah, I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will help us uncloud the fitrah, and now they will be in a position to learn about the other pillars of Islam. Inshallah, we will come back to you next week in another video about explaining why we need revelation in our lives. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Jazakumullahu khair.